Alright guys, so you're in the position of, I want to get into nursing school. What do I need to do first? Number one priority, get A's in your prerequisites. And I'm going to give you 10 tips to getting A's in your prereqs to get you into that nursing program. So grab a pen and a piece of paper, and here we go. Number one, when you sign up for your classes, print your syllabus. Print it. And get yourself a, I think they're made by, well, this is the cheaper brand from Walmart, but Avery also, there's so many binder companies, but anyway, get yourself one of those see-through cover binders. See, it kind of slips in here. If I can get it out, it slips in. And you're going to want to put your syllabus in the front. Let me hide some information there. In the front of your, ooh, it's heavy. In the front of your binder. That way you always have it and you know what assignments are coming up. Number one tip, print your syllabus. Get yourself a clear front cover pocket thingamajig to stick your syllabus in. And if you're at the point of taking your science prereqs, put your syllabus for lecture on the front side and then your syllabus for lab on the back side. Now, I've taken mine out, but lecture front side or whatever class you have first. Like some people with their sciences have their lab first and then lecture, whatever's easier for you. Point is, print your syllabus and put it in a clear cover pocket binder. Number two, invest in flags or tags, whatever you call them. Let me find mine. There's so many different kinds and versions of these, but oh my god, they're so incredibly helpful. So invest in some of these bad boys. See them? Okay. The reason being, you are going to tag off your textbook and binders by chapter. So, for instance, I don't know if you can see this, but I have my tags all the way down my binder with the chapter number. Can you see this? The chapter number is, good lord, I'm struggling. You're going to take a black Sharpie or whatever color Sharpie, because Sharpie sticks best to these, and mark off your number to your chapters. You're going to do the same with your textbook. However, here's a little piece of advice. Before your classes start, email your professor or your instructor and ask them if the book is necessary. Because I would say 70% of the time for these classes, you won't even use your book. Okay, so ask them ahead of time before you spend upwards of $100 or more on a textbook. Ask your professor if it's absolutely necessary. This is my A&P book, and I probably used it 3 times the entire semester. So if you do need it, however, flag your textbook as well. So that's tip number 2. Number 1, print your syllabus. Number 2, invest in some tags and mark off your binders and your textbook by chapter. Only the chapters needed, because the syllabus will outline what chapters you need because you won't use every chapter. Number 3, most professors nowadays teach from PowerPoints. I can't stress to you enough how important it is to print your PowerPoints for the entire semester all at once, because I guarantee you there will be a day when you have class and you did not have time to print your PowerPoint for class. Whereas if you have done it at the beginning of the semester, you would have saved yourself the trouble and the hassle of not having them for class, which is a total bummer. If you're anything like me, because I'm a visual learner, PowerPoints are everything. Now, I did have a professor before who only put out the PowerPoints for that given week, which was kind of a bummer, but if you're able to, print all of your PowerPoints at the beginning of the semester for every chapter. That way you can hole punch them, put them in your binder, and tag them off with the flags with the appropriate or the corresponding chapter number. All right, tip number 4, read and skim your PowerPoints or your lecture notes prior to class, and you've probably heard this a million times. However, It's so important because if you're coming to class, you have not looked at your notes, you're going to be blindsided by all this information, get overwhelmed, and your mind's going to wander because it's just too much. Whereas if you had, I'm going to take these off because they're getting worse. If you had skimmed the PowerPoints prior, you could actually, you know what to expect. You can spend more time taking notes based on what the professor is saying and not taking in so much of what's actually on the PowerPoint because you already have it in there. So, read before class. Now, I'm not talking about read the entire chapter. I would not suggest doing that. I mean, really. Just do what is outlined by the professor on the PowerPoint or lecture notes. Tip number 5, utilize YouTube. There are so many helpful videos out there. I know I use YouTube a lot for studying the body systems in A&P or microbiology. It's so important. Utilize YouTube. Also, let me see if I have it. Yeah. My especially my science books, they came with like a CD. This isn't a CD, but it's actually like a login. It comes with your book if you buy it new, like a login to the website. Like mine is masteringAMP.com. And it gives you, it was so incredibly useful because it gave you, by chapter, it gave you practice quizzes, additional helpful tools like they would do. I think we had a crossword puzzle using terms that we needed to know, true and false, multiple choice, fill in the blank, flashcards. It gives you a whole array. So no matter how you study, you can benefit from it. So YouTube and access codes from your textbook are extremely helpful. Number 6, mark your planner. So you're going to want to map out your semester, meaning take out your planner, and if you know for this week you have to read 3 chapters, don't be overwhelmed by that because 3 chapters could be easily 300 pages. But map out what you're going to read each day, meaning, or do it not necessarily by the textbook, but by the PowerPoints. I'm going to read PowerPoints 1 through 27 on Monday, and then on Tuesday, I'm going to read 28 through 40. On Wednesday, I'm going to take a break, but on Thursday, I'm going to read 40 to 67. Does that make sense? So you're not completely overwhelmed. You have an outline of what to expect of yourself throughout the week so you don't fall behind. Mark your planner. So helpful and so important. Number 7. Okay, this goes into exams, tests, and quizzes. Say, for instance, you know you have a test on Friday. You're not going to wait till Thursday to study. You're probably going to study the weekend before through the week until Friday. Again, break up your days. Say, I'm going to study, say your exams on chapters 1 through 10, or more realistic, like 1 through 4 or 5. Study 1 chapter per day until your test. The last day, right before your test, say your exam is on a Friday, that Thursday, do an overall review. So do chapter 1, say, on Saturday, chapter 2 on Sunday, chapter 3 on Monday, chapter 4 on Tuesday, chapter 5 on Wednesday, and Thursday do an overall review. Does that make sense? So you're not waiting until the last minute. You're not overwhelmed. You have a plan. You know what to do. You're going to know what to expect. And by Friday, you're going to know it. So give yourself make it easier on yourself and just have a plan. Okay? Number 8. This was crucial for me. This was absolutely crucial for me. It was mapping your mind. Those are my kiddos in the back. Don't mind them. It's called, my professor would say, mapping your mind. And before an exam, let me show you what I would do. I would purchase poster board and Sharpies. And I would literally map my mind. I'm a visual learner, so I don't know if you guys can see this. But I would take Sharpies and I would literally make poster board, color-coded, draw out pictures so I'd understand it. So this is how blood flows through the heart. I would make posters for myself, big and small. However, if it was a huge chapter, I would buy a big poster board like this, and I would make posters for myself. And I can't tell you how many times I was sitting in an exam and I could visualize that poster board and know, oh, the blood moves through the heart through, this and then this and then this, and I had it all mapped out in my head based on those poster boards. So Sharpies and poster board, invest in them if you're a visual learner. I can't attest to a different learning style because that's how I learned, but if you are a visual learner, such a helpful tool. Poster board and Sharpies, and kind of map out the things in a big picture so you can kind of understand it and grasp these concepts better. Number 9, be an active note taker both in lecture and when you're studying. Get some pens and highlighters and Post-its and mark up your work, your PowerPoints that you've printed. Mark up your textbook. Heck, you bought it, use it. If you don't understand something, circle it, put Y next to it, ask your professor next class. Be active. You want to be engaged in your education. You want to learn, the most that you can learn out of a study session. So, highlighters, pens, and Post-its, a must. And lastly, have a designated study space. For the longest time, mine was just at the dining room table. But you have to set a place and a time aside just for you to get that study in, especially if you have kiddos like I do. You hear them in the back, a husband or whatever, a spouse, a wife. They need to know that when you're in that area, that's your time for studying and the questions can wait till later. I know it's kind of hard if you're living in a cramped apartment like we did for a while. It's kind of hard to find that space, but just designate a spot out. Even if it's on your couch. Say, I'm going to study here for the next 35 minutes on my couch. Designate a space for yourself, for your learning, and it will help you. I hope this helps. If you have any questions or things to share with me, I'm always open to suggestions, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Bye!